everyone. This is Heidi and
Jane. I am the clairvoyant medium for Adventuring Mystic and Healer.
I am Heidi. I am your dream interpreter as well as your crystal healer. And welcome to our first of hopefully many wisdom or wine and wisdom question and answers that we are doing. And we've had a lot of questions that people have come on board to ask us past couple of years that we've been here. So this is one of the things that we wanted to do. So if you have any questions, concerns, or just anything that's in general about what Jane does or what I do, Wine and Wisdom is for you. To get the questions to us, all you need to do is email info@adventuringpsychics.com. We get all of your messages. Jane and I read them, go through each one of them together in a Zoom meeting that we have, and then we're going to be putting it out on Sunday. So that's how we're working. And we haven't figured really how to go live yet. So that's in the future. But for right now, Jane, do you have anything to add to that before we step right into a question?
Yes, I'd love to. It's Wine and Wisdom, wine, WHINE, not the drink, and wisdom. And you can email us any question, concern, complaint. We will try our best to answer it. That's the wisdom. Complaints, we'll try and maybe give you suggestions on how to enjoy your readings or your profiles or your interpretation better. But that's it. There's really nothing off limit except unless it's explicit or low contact. We don't answer those kind of questions.
So with that being said, one of the questions that we did get, and by the way, everyone, thank you very much for your questions. We appreciate it. Some of the stuff that we even haven't even thought of ourselves. And one of them is, how do you get ready for a reading? And with it either being like an individual or co-reading that Jane and I do together. And sometimes I do have crystal readings that you do. But one of the things that we want to let everybody know is just be natural. How you prepare for it is do some meditation. Sit down in a quiet space that no one's going to bother you. And then just meditate on some of the questions that you have. Before the reading, do that. When you're ready, then we will contact you because we always contact you. And then we'll just gently say, do you have any questions or any concerns beforehand before we just dive right in? And the process is a lot more simpler than people think. We just want you calm, breathing, and just meditate a little bit, just relaxing the energy that's around you. If you have a crystal or a talisman that you feel close to that gives you comfort, bring that with you also on your reading. Jane, what are your thoughts?
I agree 100%. You need to be in a good place. Don't come running in from work with the kids screaming in the background because you're paying for this tool. So you want to get it out of it as much as you can. And I'm going to address a few little taboos of things that I don't answer or can't offer you. I don't know the lottery numbers. If I knew the lottery numbers, I'd be in a McMansion somewhere. I can't ask your dearly departed to give me the winning lottery numbers. It doesn't work that way. I can't tell you, or I won't ask when you're going to die, the time or the place of your death, or I won't ask how you're going to die. Because if you ask me and I give you an answer to that, you're going to live your whole life waiting on that, preparing for that, and you're going to probably miss out on a lot of life. So I don't even entertain that question. The other thing, as far as whether I'm going to meet somebody or I'm going to fall in love or when am I going to get married, I can tell you whether you have a strong relationship or just whether your relationship is where it's going to go. But I don't try to predict people's emotions if they're going to fall out of love. I can give you tools to work with, but I can't tell you the exact time, day. Maybe some mediums can, but I don't like to leave people on thinking they can because I am not a fortune teller. I am a medium, and I can only tell you what your dearly departed relay to me.
That's a good question. That's just off the cuff, Jane, and I'm just going to throw it in there. What is the difference between being a clairvoyant medium that you are and a fortune teller?
Once again, I'm going to do another video more about
Probably.
that. A fortune teller uses other tools. They use crystal balls. They use tarot cards. They use pendulums. They use all kinds of things to try to tell. They use astrology to tell the future.
Right.
I just get messages from your dearly departed.
That's
it. I have a real appreciation of what they can do, but I don't do that. And I'm very leery of tarot cards and other cards because somebody has spoken to in different other videos. you can open up portals and stuff. And if you don't do them right, and I think fortune tellers are probably well trained and know how to do it. I don't have that in my toolbox. So I don't want to open anything up or put anyone in danger of anything.
Awesome.
But I do believe they both have a place. And you
Mhm.
just got to direct the right questions.
Awesome. Now, question for me is how we get our crystals for the reading. And before we even get the crystals, Jane will already know well in advance that she's going to be getting a reading. I tell her the name, she meditates, and then she herself starts getting colors. Then Jane will tell me what the colors are. I'll go through my own set of intuitions and point Jane in the direction of a crystal, but I won't say this is the one that you should pick. Jane is still, I think, manifesting some of the information that she's getting from her spirit guides and your spirits and finding out what it is that she needs to tell you. And I'm going to have Jane explain her colors and what they mean to her. Not just the colors themselves, but how the colors show up physically to her. I think that's probably a better explanation. And if I've confused you, Jane will explain me.
Yes, I will. I only ask Heidi for first names. Whether even if it's an email reading, Heidi will just let me know the first name with the email questions. If it's a virtual reading, Heidi just sends me a text message with the first name, and I just concentrate on that name, put it out to the ether, and things come through. They usually always send me 2 colors. I'll say, I need to know what this person needs. Let me be open to whatever they need. And I usually always get 2 colors, and I used to just dismiss them as colors. But they always came in 2 different forms. They're either in 2 separate rectangles, far apart, or they're like a Venn diagram. They're 2 circles that are intertwined. And that means when I tell Heidi what the 2 colors are, that those crystals can work together, and they need to work together to help this person achieve what they need to achieve. But if they work separately, they have to be used at different times because they're conflicting crystals. So then I usually, a day or so before, I text Heidi the colors, and then she gives me some suggestions, and I meditate on the suggestions. And then eventually your daily departed or whoever's coming through for you will say, nope, not this. And then finally, eventually it'll sync, and I'll text Heidi back. So there's a whole big process. And then Heidi will do the research on the crystals, and then she will give you instructions on how to use them. So I'm going to turn you back over to Heidi, and she will tell you how she goes through all that.
When Jane and I finally recognized from the spirit guides that they're telling us that this is the crystal that they need. And let me give you an example. We're doing a lapis, and then you have a crystal clear quartz. So lapis lazuli is big. Excuse me, it's blue. They can be big or small. And then you have a clear quartz. When she says that they work separately or they have to be used separately, they do. When Jane gives the colors to me and we have the crystals themselves, I dive deep into their meanings. I will know them off the top of my head, but depending upon any information that Jane knows, she'll tell me about. So I will go deeper into that crystal color or deeper into the history of that crystal, of where it came from and what it did for the Chinese, the ancients, the Rome, and bring that into reading for you of what you needed for after you have, or after you've talked with Jane, or while you're talking with Jane. I'm actually taking more notes. And I have to admit that we are pretty spot on when we get the crystals, and that's not being conceited. It's just that we do get responses from our clients that say, I'm glad you gave me this crystal. This is what it did for me. Jane says, this is the crystal color. This is the crystal that we need. It might seem like it's random, but it's not. There's a lot of thought that goes into it, because you could say, hey, lapis lazuli is great for controlling and being calm, controlling anxiety. But it also does more. But if you're looking at a blue stone, well, there's thousands of blue stones out there. So that's where Jane's spirit guides and your guides will go with Jane and myself and say, this is not the one we need. This is not what it looks like. It's more, and they'll go into details. We need more gold in it, more gold striations in it, or it needs more black zebra type. Because when Jane and I do this, there's a lot of back of the house stuff that we do before we even talk with you, and we're quite sure of the crystals that you need. And when I go through a reading, I'll give you a little history and what they're able to do for you, and then I'll take more notes from Jane's reading, because I will go after Jane. Jane will do the reading, and then I'll do the crystal profile. And I will take what Jane has read to you, and I will say the lapis, the reason why you have it is this. Jane has told you this is what you need. This is what the lapis can do for you. If we need to have a crystal, that's like the crystal quartz, that's what that's going to do for you, but you can't use them together in the situation that you're in. So when you are out of the house, you want to use the lapis because that's going to calm your anxiety. That's going to help you speak. So it's going to be working with one of your chakras. The crystal quartz, we're going to need to have you keep here next to your bedside so it adds a clarity. So when you go to bed at night, it's going to help clear the space and you can just meditate on that as well. These are examples. Obviously, those crystals can do more, but that's just a small portion of how Jane and I work at getting the crystals together for you for the reading. I hope that made sense, Jane.
It absolutely did. It always shocks me how good your dearly departed are. Because I'm like, I don't know why they chose those crystals. I don't know what's going on in a person's life. And it always seems to pertain to the reading. So I give the credit to them. I mean, I'm just a vessel. And the other thing that Heidi and we'd love to hear your feedback on this. We were thinking of in the near future, Heidi might kick me if she put it under the table because we're in two different places, but we were thinking of doing maybe a situational crystal reading. Or you were going to a job interview, or you were going to start a new class, or you were going to on a new meetup date. What kind of crystal would you want to carry in your pocket? And so we were going to set it up where you could just call and ask a quick one question thing, and maybe Heidi could give you a crystal that would work. Because some crystals are people specific, I can never say that word, and some crystals work, if I'm getting this right, Heidi, you can correct me, can work in numerous situations like to deal with anxiety and that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. Next that we had participating in your own reading, that was something that was brought up. And I think a long time ago, Jane and I had talked about that. And when you are in a reading, what is our best way to help Jane in the reading? And Jane had mentioned, as the first words out of her mouth, you need to participate in the reading. And the reading, as Jane had mentioned a while back, she says it's a tool and how you use it. But you also have to talk with Jane, let Jane know that she's on the right track. Her spirit guides guide her. And if I'm mistaken, Jane, so jump right in. Don't be silent about something. If Jane says that she has in her vision a double-decker building that is brown and two families live on it, she is looking, and it's okay for any kind of psychic medium or clairvoyant medium to ask you, does that resonate with you? Am I right, Jane?
Absolutely, 100%. And usually when I'm meditating previous to your reading, after I get your first name only, every medium does things differently. I don't get verbal communications. I get pictures and I draw. And I have pencil sets that I use only for the readings because I don't let anyone touch them. And usually when I start a reading, I have a blank sheet of paper and I have 4 or 5 pictures on it. And I always start the reading by telling you your colors and I ask you if you have any questions or concerns. And that is also to engage your dearly departed. And then if you say yes or no or whatever, then I start telling you about, well, they sent me this image. So say you were having money problems. Usually, sometimes it's like an open window and dollar bills are flying out the window. And that to me means that your dearly departed is saying you have money problems, but you're recklessly spending. You're just blowing money. It's going, you're just sending it out to the ether. Sometimes I see stairs or I see levels. And that means that you're down here and you have to accomplish certain things to get up to the next level. And eventually you're going to get to where you want to be. They send me different images that mean different things. And I'm always learning. I'll tell you something. When I see red robins or white feathers, usually that's a message coming down for you that whoever you were thinking of at that moment, or whoever was so close to you, close to your heart, owned your heart, is thinking about you at that time. And they're sending you just I love you, or I'm wishing you well, or I'm thinking of you, or don't worry if you're in a bad situation. I got this. So there's some things like that. That's what that means. But that's the way it usually works. I have had 1 or 2 readings where the Marias have come through and they once it was back to the double decker. He opened the door and he invited us in, and he was an older man, and I was describing it and I kept saying that something resonated. I don't know what's going on in your life. And she said, I don't want to answer questions, or I don't know that, or just keep going, whatever. Your daily departed can get frustrated too, and they can leave. And he actually showed us the door, shut the door behind us. And then afterwards, she asked me, well, how come you weren't telling me about this? And I was like, I was giving you things that he was showing you in symbols and signs, and you were not acknowledging them. So he just got frustrated and moved on. Does that make it clear? I don't know. Any questions, shoot them to me. I will gladly try and help you. But it's for your benefit. Remember, you're paying for this. You want to get as much as you can. You want to grab it all. And the other thing I want to say to end this is Spirit tells you what you need to know. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's, hey, you're wasting too much money, or you're not eating right, or the person you're dating is a yutz or whatever. And sometimes they can be very blunt, but they tell you what you need to know, not so much what you want to know. Don't go in thinking, I want to know my life is perfect. I know I want to get a new car. I want to get tons of money. Because that realistically is probably not going to what's happen. They're going to tell you they're going to give you a kick in the butt, to say it bluntly.
They have too.
And the other thing I want to say to you is once I do a reading and I do all the drawings and I scan it and I send Heidi the drawings in case you want a copy of it, I'll be honest with you, within a day or so, I can't even remember the reading. How do you have to tell me, oh, this happened? For some reason, once I put it out on paper, the next one comes in.
And that's a good way for that. The spirit guides help Jane to clear out any junk that's in there. So Jane is ready for the next reading and she's able to do her daily stuff. So she doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff stuck in there. And so it's on the paper, it's done. And another thing that Jane had mentioned or didn't mention, that when we do the reading, we know that you're probably excited and nervous at the same time. Jane and I don't have a problem if you would like to take notes. We encourage it because that also gives you more questions if you have any. And if you want to record it, that's perfectly fine as well. We don't really have a problem with either one of us. If we're on a video conference call like we are right now, if you want to do that, that's great. Sometimes our clients don't like to be videotaped or have a video call with us. So we'll just pick up the phone and we'll talk to them just like that. We usually try to keep it as easy for a client as possible so that they can get the answers that they need. Because as Jane mentioned, you did spend money on it. We want to give it your all. We want to, not your all, you're already giving the all, but we want to give our all to you with the money that you're spending. Jane knows what she knows. The spirit guides are telling her, but preparing open-ended questions that have a leeway into different kind of answers. Do you have anything like that, Jane, when you say open-ended questions?
I'm sorry, Heidi. I'm going to put something, I messed it out in a minute. I had a spirit talking to me, a young 19-year-old, but I'll answer your question first. And questions, they're very fine, but just remember that it takes a lot of energy for your daily part to come through. You can't just come on the reading and say, tell me how my life is. They don't have time for all that because they have to, Heidi can explain more the energy thing and maybe in another video, but they have only a certain amount of energy before they stop fading or they start going back. So open-ended is good, but open-ended with a point. Is my life going in the right direction? Would be a better open-ended question. And they can say, well, yes, you can tweak this and tweak that. And that, Heidi, did I answer your question?
Actually, you did, because I think my mind went blank when I said I didn't probably give Jane an example of an open-ended question, but you just did. And towards the end of the readings, or even at the beginning, your spirit guides are there to guide you. You do still have free will. If a spirit guide mentions this, probably not a good idea to go to this place. But if you insist on going, make sure you take your own kind of protection. Maybe you need to bring a buddy. Maybe you need to pay attention where you're parking your car. Who is going to be there? Do you really need to stay very long? Can you make an appearance, do what you need to do, and then mingle maybe, and then leave? If your spirit guides are really insistent that you don't, but you're too curious not to, you need to still find a way to get yourself to safety in case something happens.
That was something else I was just going to bring up. Glad Heidi reminded me about this. I was talking to her this before the reading, before the video. This kid's talking in my ear. He'll get to you. And I do that a lot. It happens to me when they want to come. I don't have my coffee with me, so that's usually see a coffee cup in my things. I have an empty one, but I don't have a full one. And usually that's a sign of no, not right now. But you have to participate in your own readings. And part of the participation is taking the messages that your daily department give you and work with them and use them. I remember the woman who sent me an email question reading. She had to go to an event, and she said she was feeling uneasy about going to the event, but she wanted to go. Should she go to the event? And when I meditated on her name, I saw her walking through storefront doors, two glass doors. She's walking through, and she was walking into a crowd of people, and a hand came out from the door and pulled her back and pulled her out of the function. So when I answered her question, I said, "This is what they're telling me, and I will tell you what they tell me, but you need to make your own decision. If you don't feel right, don't attend. But if you do go, this is where it comes from your own, Heidi, what did you call it? Free will or anticipation? That if you choose to go, there's certain things that you should do. You should be on high alert and maybe realize you're probably not going to be comfortable because your head's going to be on a swivel the whole time. And is it worth going? I can't stop you from going. I can't tell you not to go. I can just tell you what your dearly departed are warning you about. If you choose to go, you take that information I gave you and you apply it as so. Because all of us have free will, and no reading is written in stone. It's just messages from your dearly departed and have to participate. The reading is just giving you a roadmap to answer your questions for you. If you don't do anything, just like if you have a roadmap and you don't have a car and you want to go someplace, you're not going to get there. So, do you have anything else to add? Because I have a message from a spirit that I need to get out.
You go take care of that spirit. We're good.
There was a young gentleman. I would say he's about 5'8", slender build. He has dark hair. He has light eyes, and he recently passed away. And everyone's labeling his death that he harmed himself, but he's saying I didn't. And I'm not sure. I don't know sure how he died, or whatever. But he was experimenting, or he peer pressure, or he took something, and he never meant to do this because he's saying I wouldn't do this. He's being very emphatic. I wouldn't do this to my family. I was experimenting. It was unlike me. They wouldn't expect me to do that, so that's why they think that I harmed myself, but I didn't. I was being he's saying he called himself a jerk. He used a different word, but I'm going to say jerk. And he's saying, I didn't mean to do this. It's not, I guess they labeled it as that he harmed himself. He took his own life, but that's not what happened. He was in a situation and everyone was doing it, so he joined in to do it. He's about 5'8". He has, looks like Van sneakers. He's a jeans. He has a t-shirt on. I think he was very into t-shirts, kinds of graphic t-shirts, other kind of t-shirts. He has dark hair. He falls in front of his eyes. He has light eyes. He's about 5'8". He has very, this is going to sound crazy, but he has very nice hands. Nails are kept in it. They're long, slender fingers and very nice. But he said, I didn't mean to do this. It's not what you think it is. I wouldn't do that to you. He's trying to tell me something else. If you can give me a second. I don't know if his name, I'm getting a large, solid black A. I don't know if it's Anthony or Tony or the last name began with an A. So I don't know what he's saying. Please make a video about that. So Heidi and I and this is what happens to me sometimes. They just come from anywhere. I think he passed maybe the last 2 to 3 months because he's in a short sleeve t-shirt and he was saying warm. So I don't know. Maybe that's what the A is, August. I don't know. Maybe that's his birthday. I haven't had enough time really to trust him, but he wants to let whoever it is know that I did not do that. That's not what happened.
It was an accident and
and it wasn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone keeps saying he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't have done that. And they're right. I didn't do it. And they don't know why he was around this. I'm getting tablets. If that helps anybody. The pills. I've been drawing over here little baby aspirin. So he said, I just did it for no reason.
All right, everyone. So this has been our first Whine and Wisdom. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be doing it again in March. It's going to be the third Sunday. This was very fun for Jane and I. We're going to enjoy doing it. We hope you enjoyed as well. But no question is off limits. And questions about crystals, psychic abilities, paranormal, anything. Even if you have an idea, hey, Jane and Heidi, I have a space for you to check out. What are your thoughts? Oh, of course. The answer is always yes.
He's asking another question, and I'm reassuring him, but he wants to hear it from you. He wants to make sure that we're going to send this message out everywhere. And I said, yes, we are. So
we have social media that we're going to be setting it out, so it'll go out everywhere, sir.
And I hope no one was upset that I had to introduce, because sometimes I have to acknowledge them.
Or they won't leave her alone.
Yes. And I like to try and help anybody. And just if that gives someone solace, I'm not going to ignore. Some of them I will ignore, but that to me was
important. And
he is acknowledging that he did take the tablet or whatever it was. But no, if you test, he's saying, test my hair. I never used to use stuff. I'm like, it's okay, calm down. So yes. So I apologize for having to do that in the middle of this, but that's what happens when you're in this business.
You're Jane. All right, everyone, we are going to sign off right now, and we will be talking to all of you later, and I'll put some more information out about Whine and Wisdom. And thank you again, everyone, for all of your questions. All right, talk with you later. Bye.
Talk with you later. God bless.